Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to today's live session. I'm very excited for the conversation that we're going to have today as we begin a new week. And I want to lead this week with this understanding and with this clarity of what does it really mean to manifest the best outcome in our lives. Because I'm sure you've been on YouTube, you've been on Instagram, you've seen and heard this word manifestation used all around. And the problem is, now it's become kind of a gold rush. It's become this field, this elusive thing in which you had a lot of words like breakthroughs and quantum and this and that. And it just starts to get too confusing. But while it's getting too confusing, it's also very elusive, very desirable, and very, very attractive, because of which it seems like manifestation has all the answers to your problems. And to some extent, it sure does. But the problem is, we do not understand manifestation the way it is really meant to be understood. We have a much more convoluted and honestly a much more comfortable definition that only suits us, that only suits our comfort. Today, I want to step beyond that. Today, I want to give you a lens on what manifestation really is and where that comes from and why it's one of the most powerful forces that you could tap into if you understand how to use it right. And that's a big if, because see, here's the problem. In the world right now, manifestation is often advertised as a substitute for action. Not directly, nobody does that, but if you observe indirectly, essentially most of the marketing and positioning around manifestation is simple. Just think about what you want. Just dream about the identity and the person you want to be, and automatically you will attract that in your life. The universe will just open up, the universe will create the magic, and lots of beautiful things will unlock. And it's that effortlessly, world is going to come to you. Now, I am a believer in that. I am a believer of the fact that we have an infinite power that's beyond our understanding, that's helping things align in ways we can't even yet see. But here's the thing, that infinite power is not a substitute for the actions that you're supposed to take. But when people assume this and when people think that, hey, you know what? I can just sit and I can just manifest and everything's going to align for me, you're fooling yourself and you're trying to fool the universe that actually works on much different principles, principles that are understood in physics, principles that are understood in psychology, and all these other fields. If you just combine them, you will see the power that manifestation holds. But no, the story that sells is, how can you manifest anything you want? In fact, this is a funny thing, okay? If you want, go and search this on YouTube. There's so many videos on how to manifest a specific person into my life. And when I look at that content, right, and when I look at these topics, I don't mean this in any disrespectful way. I don't mean this in any demeaning way. But honestly, half of that content is misleading. And the reason is, it doesn't work on the fundamentals, it works on what sells. And I'm not here to give you just that. I'm here to tell you, hey, okay, this is what works. This is what makes sense. And today, we want to break down manifestation from that lens. So, a lot of people, again, make the mistake of thinking manifestation is a substitute for action. It's not. If you don't take sufficient action, manifestation will not do anything, because the universe is not sitting out there trying to give free treats to everybody. The universe works on the simple principle of aligning your energy, and to align your energy, your actions play a far more important role than you might think. Because if manifestation was supposed to work on just what you think and what you manifest, today everybody would at least be a millionaire. Because at some point or the other, we all think that, at some point or the other, we all want that. But we're not all millionaires. So manifestation doesn't work when you substitute it for action. Manifestation works when you use it as a complement to action to open doors you may never even have thought could be opened for you. And that's the key, that's the secret. not just sitting there and manifesting. It's to take so much action, it's unreasonable to not succeed, and to do it with so much belief that I'm going to succeed, that you just like a river flows through the mountains to eventually find its way to the sea. You flow like that. Of course, the river has force, the river has power, the river has momentum, the river has so many things that are working for it to get to the sea. But if you look at it, the river just seems to flow effortlessly. It's not that actions are happening, it is. Well, just like that, manifestation is not a substitute for action, it is a complement for action. Now, here's the reason manifestation works, okay? First of all, it removes the blocks that are blocking your actions from turning into fruitful results. And the most simple analogy I have, which is going to make you understand this super well, is this, okay? Imagine that there's this window in your room, and I'd like you to do this if you can, okay? Like, for example, my window is over here next to this curtain. So I want you to imagine there's this window, and the door and the glass is closed off. Now, because it's closed off, can I really put my hand outside or can I really do anything? No, I cannot. Now, if I want to put my hand outside, or if I want to open the window, or if I want to let a bird in, or if I want to let in some air, I can do two things, okay? The first thing I can do is I can just use the mechanism that's there. I can clear the glass that's blocking the window by pulling the glass in the other direction. So the pathway is open, and I can just put my hand out there. Or I can welcome a bird, or I can welcome the wind, whatever I want to do, right? That's what I can do. That's pathway number one. The second pathway is to take my hand and to start banging it against the glass, and that may lead to some bloodiness over here if the glass shatters and if it hurts me. But hey, by putting in my effort and by really taking action, the pathway opened up, right? Now you'd probably say, Prab, the second way is very, very stupid. Like, why would you do that consciously? Who wants to hurt their hand? You can just open the window and take your way forward. Well, that's the principle that manifestation works upon when we say it is a complement to action. Manifestation is making sure the energetic glass windows, the energetic blocks, everything in your mind that's holding you back from your beliefs to your feelings to your thoughts, all of that just clears away. So your action can be much smoother, much faster, and get the result that you want without any problem, without any confusion. But now, a lot of times when you say, okay, manifestation doesn't work, there are some people who think that manifestation is just a false scam. Well, it is not. If you really focus on aligning your energy, you're just opening up the pathways. Otherwise, if you want, keep trying to break the window with your hands, keep bleeding, keep hurting, keep putting in more efforts than necessary to get the same results. I know the grind feels something to take pride in. I know it feels like I have done this. But hey, you could have done it so much easily and you could have enjoyed the time while you were doing it. So why not just do it? That's why manifestation works, because I have personally seen, I've been the person who would focus on effort and would focus on getting his hands bloody and would focus on how I have done enough so I could prove to people that, hey, I've done enough. But the moment I broke through that cycle, the moment I allowed ease in my life, the moment I allowed manifestation in my life, things have been working in ways I cannot explain. The opportunities, they just align. The magic, it just happens. The growth, it just becomes a super easy part of my life. And when that's the case, that's because I've manifested. That's because I've taken enough action with the manifestation that my outcome's already done. So, whatever the blocks have been, they've cleared up and I've opened up the pathway. So, to understand how manifestation really works, right, I want you to think of it as very simply opening the window so the path is clear. So you don't have to waste your time and actions and efforts on something that doesn't matter, so that you don't have to waste away your actions and your feelings and your energy on stuff that drains you. So that's how very simply manifestation works. If you've been thinking it's going to be a substitute for your action, it's going to make everything align magically, I'm sorry to break your bubble, but that's not how it works. The way it works is by practicing enough action and practicing enough alignment that the magic shows up when the opportunity shows up. And then whether to walk through the opportunity or not, is always a choice that you have. That's my message for today. That's the lesson I want you to take away, that manifestation very simply works as a complement to your actions. Align your energy, open up your blocks, and you will see that magic surrounds you from all directions and in every way. Stick with this lesson today, and I'd like you to go home with this reflection. I'd like you to think on this question, that where have I been unnecessarily manifesting struggle because I don't believe in manifestation? And where have I been unnecessarily manifesting struggle because I believe too much in manifestation and I'm not taking enough action to back it up? Both sides you don't want to stay stuck at. You want a clear pathway so your actions can generate the results that you want. That's the aim when we think about manifesting, right? It always works when your actions are working too. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope this lesson was helpful, and I'll see you once again tomorrow at the same time, that is 8:30 p.m. IST. Bye. See you soon.